Hello, thank you for joining me for this class for World Mental Health Day today. Apologies for those who were waiting at 11:30 on my YouTube channel, waiting for me to go live. You might have seen I had a couple of failed attempts. Technology was not on my side this morning, so apologies for that. I'm here, it's about 2:30, I think, UK time at the moment, and this live class will automatically get uploaded to the YouTube channel, so you can do it at any time you would like to. So we're going to begin with focusing on the breath. We're going to use our hands to really focus our breath into the areas of the body we really need to encourage it to go to. We'll bring a bit of movement to the shoulders and the arms, and we'll come into a couple of simple sun salutations before coming into a balance pose and then having a couple of moments to refocus on the breath and relax. So to begin with, just making sure you have a stable base. And by that, I really mean a really lovely grounded feeling through the feet. So that may be together, that may be a little bit apart. And taking a moment to make sure the feet are parallel, toes are pointing forwards. Let's lift the toes. Try lifting the toes, spreading the toes, and then allowing them to come down towards the mat. So we're finding a beautiful stable base to stand in a version of Tadasana mountain pose as we come through this simple breathing exercise. Well, once you're there, maybe you're able to find a little bit more length through the spine, a little bit more length through the sternum and the chest, just being mindful not to overarch the back. And maybe you're reaching down towards the earth through the fingertips. Maybe tucking the chin in a centimetre or two as well. If you're softening the gaze and taking the gaze towards the floor, just being mindful not to drop the chin, or maybe you're closing the eyes. Bringing your awareness to the breath. And all that really means is focusing on the breath and following the breath and noticing how it feels. Noticing where it's traveling to, which parts of the body you can feel moving as you inhale and exhale. Being mindful to keep the length and space in the chest and the spine. And a sense of balance through the feet. Breathing in and out through the nose if you can today. And then gently bringing your hands to your belly. We're going to take 5 breaths here, encouraging our breath to reach our belly. It's not really moving into the belly, it's the diaphragm, the muscle under the ribcage that's pushing down as we inhale and expand the lungs. That pushes out the belly, for those that like the anatomy and physiology. But bringing our sense of touch can really help us direct our breath. So the hands connecting with the belly. And as you breathe in through the nose, allowing the belly to expand, giving it permission and the freedom to expand with the breath. And as you exhale, gently drawing the navel towards the spine. As you inhale, expanding the belly, and as you exhale, allowing the belly to drop back. So our sense of touch through the hands can really help us focus the breath. Guide the breath. Releasing the hands and taking the hands to the lower back. So finding the most comfortable position you can for your hands, encouraging a softness in the elbows, softness in the shoulders. And once again, using that sense of touch through the hands to encourage the breath into the lower back. So bringing our awareness to our breath means we're consciously breathing. So we spend all day unconsciously breathing, just breathing without thinking about it. As we bring our attention to the breath, we're able to manipulate it, to mold it, to encourage it to slow down, to encourage it to lengthen. And with this exercise, encouraging it into certain areas of the body. And maybe releasing the hands and then bringing the hands to the front of the ribcage. You'll be able to feel the ribcage through the hands, maybe the fingertips touch, and breathing into this area here. So once again, using the sense of touch to direct our breath. Maybe noticing how this is a much bigger movement. In the lower back, maybe you hardly felt the lower back moving at all. So the rib cage protects our lungs. So concentrating, breathing into the mid and lower part of the lungs here. Releasing the hands and then bringing the hands towards the back of the body, so the back of the rib cage. Once again, finding the most comfortable position for your hands. Reminding your body of the length you can find in the spine, maybe a little bit more length from the sternum and width in the chest. And using this touch, the sense of touch through the hands to encourage the breath into the back of the lungs. And over half of our breath moves into the back of the lungs. So you may notice this even to be a slightly larger movement, a slightly more exaggerated movement than at the front of the lungs. And releasing the hands and bringing the hands up to the upper chest. So maybe the fingertips rest on the collarbones. So encouraging the breath into the upper lobes of the lungs. And once again, watching the breath, noticing the movement. And finally, we're going to have the hands or the fingertips on the top of the shoulders, or maybe you can reach a little further behind to the top of the back, making sure you feel that you've got a little softness in the shoulders. It's not overstraining the body in any way. And finally, directing the breath into the upper lobes of the lungs towards the back of the body. Gently releasing the hands back down towards the sides of the body. Keeping the eyes closed if that feels comfortable for you. And taking a few breaths here. You're using your own breathing rhythm, working with your body. And as we've brought our awareness to the different parts of the body with our hands that receive the breath, encouraging the breath to reach all those areas without the help of the hands. Maybe noticing any changes in your breath and the rhythm, and the length and the depth. And then gently tucking our chin in towards the chest and maybe opening the eyes at this point. We're going to keep the head lowered, gentle movement of the neck. Breathing in to bring the head back up to center. We're going to take our gaze over towards the right hand side, so breathing in and breathing out to take the gaze towards the right. So being mindful of the cervical spine, so that's the neck, only taking the gaze as far as feels comfortable for your body, your neck. Breathing in to come back and breathing out to take the gaze over the left side. Maybe you notice immediately a difference between the two sides. So this can often be to do with a dominant side if you're right or left-handed. One side is likely to be a little bit tighter, stiffer. Sometimes it's just simply how you've slept at night and how the head and the neck have been supported. Breathing in to come back to center. Take the right ear towards the right shoulder, coming to about 50% of your movement. So 50%, allowing the body to work out what's happening, allowing the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments to soften. And then maybe you would like to go a little further and take the ear a little closer towards the shoulder. Coming back up to center and taking the left ear towards the left shoulder. And slowly coming back up to center once again. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of a hug, always good for our mental health, and obviously difficult this time to hug some of the people you may love. So you might want to imagine you're hugging someone else. We're going to breathe in and reach out through our fingertips. Breathing in to take the hands out. I hope I said that the first time. And then breathing out to give ourselves a hug. Breathing in to reach out. And as we hug ourselves this time, trying to remember to take the opposite arm on top. And gently releasing the hands. We're going to come into a version of cat-cow standing. I'll turn side on so you can see. We're going to breathe in and take the palms out, maybe take the gaze up, so a little bit of a back bend. And breathing out to curl all the way around. So we're finding some little bit more space in the back, thoracic spine, around the shoulders. You may find you want a little bit more, and you take the hands up and the head back. Being mindful they are back bends. The stronger they are, the stronger you're coming into a back bend, and being mindful again of the neck. So we're going to breathe in and take the gaze just upwards a little to begin with, feeling that stretch. Maybe across the belly, and breathing out to curl round. So it's almost like we're trying to pull our shoulder blades apart. Breathing in and breathing out. And in working with your breathing rate, so you're likely to have a very different breathing rhythm to me. Just trying to remember as you take the gaze forwards or upwards, you're breathing in. And as you hunch round, you're breathing out. Always having a softness in the knees. Trying not to lock the knees. Keeping the knees safe. And taking one more in your own time. And slowly coming back up to standing. We'll gently move the feet. So I'm just going to lift one foot up and do a couple of circles in one direction and then the other. And do the same with the other foot. Here's some clicking going on there. And then we're going to come into a very simple sun salutation. Stretch the body out, bring some space to our bodies. So just becoming aware that you're going to be stepping back. So if you're working on a mat, standing at the front end of the mat. If you're working on carpet, that's absolutely fine. Just making sure you've got the space behind you to step behind. I like to have my feet about hip distance apart. Sometimes you may prefer to have your feet together. So working again with your body. This is your yoga practice, making sure this feels right for you. Finding our lovely stable Tadasana, our mountain pose. Length through the spine. Lifting the toes maybe. Spreading the toes. Allowing the toes to come back down towards the mat. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the heart to encourage a fold from the hips and then allowing the head and the neck to go. Maybe the fingertips come towards the mat, maybe they don't. Doesn't matter, keep the gaze behind you. Tuck the chin a little more, soften the neck and encourage space for the neck. So maybe softening the shoulders away from the ears. Always keeping a bend in the knees, and if the back of the legs are tight, bend a little more. Remembering that breath we've cultivated, a lovely slow length of breath. We want to keep that going. From here, we're stepping the right foot back and dropping the right knee. Anjaneyasana. Maybe you'd like to stay here. You can come onto fists, or you can breathe in, bringing the hands to the hips. Left knee over left ankle, so directly above. Lovely safe position for the knee. And breathing in to reach up. Softening the shoulders. If the neck feels happy to do so, you can take the gaze up towards the sky. Breathing into the lungs, noticing how the rib cage expands in all directions. On the next exhalation, bringing the hands back down towards the mat. We're going to step the left foot back and come into a plank pose. Now this may be on knees, it may be on toes, just encouraging the hands to be flat, a real stable base through the hands. Fingers are spread, inner elbows pointing in towards each other and shoulders are away from ears. Belly button towards the spine, lovely strength in the core. I want to encourage the weight distribution over the hands to be even. From here, we're dropping down to our knees, our chest and our chin. Hands are under shoulders. You may want to just touch the shoulders, notice or feel where they are. Bringing the elbows in towards the body. We're going to breathe in and come into cobra. So it might just be a gentle cobra here. Very soft back bend. Maybe you come a little further. Wherever you are, encouraging the elbows to really tuck in towards the rib cage. Exhaling to come back down, and then from here, bring the hands back to mid-chest level. You've got the option to push back into downward, into extended child's pose, or into downward facing dog. If you're coming into downward facing dog, hands are about shoulder width apart, feet are around about hip distance apart, and I'm coming straight into moving my legs. That's what my body's asking for today. Maybe you'd like to come into the static version. Wherever you are, making sure you've got a micro bend in the knee. I'm thinking about the weight distribution through the hands. You want that to be even. So inner elbows are pointing in towards each other. Really thinking about the weight through the thumb as much as you are the little finger. Sitting bones reaching up towards the sky. Dropping down to the knees, we're stepping the right foot back. Forwards, I should say. Bringing the left foot
to parallel or to meet the right. We're into our forward fold again, our Uttanasana. We're going to bend into our knees, breathing in, reaching up, and breathing out to bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. Come over to the left-hand side. Finding length through the spine once again. Breathing in, reaching up, breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the heart. Uttanasana again. Maybe you're finding a little bit more length through the back of the legs, softening the knees if they're feeling very, very tight. Here we're stepping the left foot back, dropping the left knee back into our Anjaneyasana. And maybe you're staying here, maybe you're coming up to the hands and the hips, maybe you're reaching up through the fingertips. So wherever you are, really focusing on the breath, encouraging that length in the breath. On the next exhalation, bringing the hands back down towards the mat and stepping back into plank. Finding your plank, whether that's toes or knees, lovely long line from the crown of the head to the heels. Gently dropping onto the knees, chest, chin, hands under shoulders, elbows tuck in, cobra. And we really want the elbows to be hugging the ribcage and the shoulders, if they're up here, encouraging them to move away from the ears. Next exhalation, coming all the way down towards the mat, bringing the hands to mid-chest, tucking back to either extended child's pose. I did the same thing the first time round, or maybe you're coming into a downward facing dog, making sure the hands are spread. Want a lovely sable base, a micro bend in the knees. Notice if the knees are falling in, trying to keep them. Imagine you've got a block in between your knees or a balloon. Shoulders away from ears, belly buttons moving towards the thighs. Breathing out, coming back onto the knees, left foot's coming forwards, right foot stepping to meet or become parallel with the left. And we're in our forward fold. Bending to the knees a little more, breathing in, reaching up, breathing out to bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. So we're going to come through 2 more rounds of that, maybe a little bit faster. You might want to take it a little bit slower, take it at your own pace. You can always press pause if you're watching this later. So finding our long spine, space in the chest, so softening the shoulders, breathing in, reaching up, breathing out, folding forwards. We're going to step the right foot back, drop the right knee, Anjaneyasana. You can decide where you're coming to. If you're raising the arms, maybe you make it a little stronger this time, taking the gaze towards the sky, coming into a gentle back bend. Breathing out, bringing the hands back down towards the mat. Stepping back into our plank. Dropping knees, chest, chin, breathing in, coming into cobra. Breathing out, downward facing dog. You've got the option to drop down to the knees and step the right foot forwards, or lift the right leg behind you, bend it, swing it through. Bringing the left foot to meet or become parallel with the right, we're into our forward fold. And breathing in to reach up. Breathing out to bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. I'm just going to change sides so you can see me demonstrate on this side. Last round. Finding our stable base, length through the spine, breathing in, reaching up, maybe taking the gaze up towards the sky. Breathing out, folding forwards, Uttanasana. Take the left foot back this time, drop the left knee. Deciding where you're coming to. Maybe if you're reaching up towards the sky, the gaze goes up as well, creating a back bend. On the next exhalation, bring the hands back down towards the mat, stepping back into plank. Making sure the hands are even, shoulder width apart. Soften the shoulders. Dropping down to knees, chest, chin, hands under shoulders, elbows tuck in, cobra. On the next exhalation, coming back down into downward facing dog, making it your downward facing dog. So maybe that's still bringing movement to the legs, encouraging space around the neck. Belly working towards the sides. Either dropping down to the knees and stepping the left foot forwards, or lifting the left leg up and swinging it through. Bringing the right foot to meet the left, back into our forward fold. Bending into the knees a little more to power up through the feet, reaching up. And bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. And here, maybe closing the eyes. Taking one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Refocusing on the breath. Releasing the hands. And gently opening the eyes. So hopefully feeling a little bit warmer after a couple of sun salutations. Surya Namaskar, lovely way to wake up the body, but also to warm the body, bring some heat into the body as well. So we're going to come into a variation of dancer pose. Depending on how you feel your balance is today or how it is generally, you may want a chair or a wall to hold on to. Just having something close by, even having that, it's like a little support even if you don't need to use it. So we'll begin by taking our left foot and spreading the toes. So lift the toes and spread the toes. We want a really lovely stable base here for a balance. I'm going to take my hand to the wall and then I'm going to take my right foot in my right hand and the knees are coming together. So you can encourage the right heel towards the glute if you want a slightly stronger stretch at the front of the thigh. Once you're here, maybe breathing in and reaching through the left hand, palm facing inwards. So we focus on a drishti point, something still to help us focus, help us find stillness. From here, you're welcome to fold forwards. So you may want to fold forwards a little and take the right foot into the right hand. So you're pushing the right foot away. Slowly coming up and maybe falling out of it gently, like me. And we'll take it over to the other side. So only folding forwards if you feel you've got that balance and that stability. This time the right foot is coming down and really encouraging the toes to spread. So we've got a lovely, even, stable base. Toes are pointing forwards again to encourage strong balance through the standing leg. Take my left hand and my left foot. Left knee has joined the right. And finding a little bit more length here through the spine. And then maybe once you found stillness, reaching through the right hand. Palm is facing inwards. So maybe you stay here, maybe you fold forwards. If you're folding forwards, encouraging the pelvis and the hips to remain level. Gently releasing the hand and releasing the foot and making any movement you feel you need to. So a couple of figure of eights with the hips can feel really nice. And maybe then in the opposite direction. We're going to come down onto our knees for a variation of camel, Uttanasana. I can't get my words out today. So if you know you need a little bit of extra padding for the knees, please do grab some. It might be a cushion, it might be a folded blanket, or you can just fold your mat in half if you're working on a mat. We're going to come up to a kneeling position and we need to tuck the toes behind us. So mine don't ever really want to do that on their own. So I'm physically going to encourage the toes to spread and come down towards the mat. From here, I'm then coming back up. And we want to try and keep the pelvis here, the hip bones in line with the knees. Softening the shoulders. We're going to breathe in And breathe out, sweeping the hands behind us. And the hands are coming to the lower back. Fingertips or fingers pointing down towards the earth. And maybe this is as far as you would like to come. This is enough for you right now. Alternatively, you can take a gentle bend. So I'm lifting through the sternum. Hips are staying over the knees. And maybe the head or the gaze goes up towards the sky. So being mindful not to throw the head back. I want to hit the gaze upwards without throwing the head back. Softening the shoulders. So I want to keep space in the chest or encouraging the pelvis to stay, hips to stay above the knees. Breathing in, notice where the breath is moving to. Tucking the chin if the head is raised and slowly coming down. And we'll come into a counter pose, child's pose, to bend the spine in the opposite direction. You may want the knees together, you may want the knees wide apart, working out your child's pose for your body. And maybe you'd like some support for the head, maybe that's a blanket or a block, maybe it's the hands or the fists. And the hands can either come in front or behind you. And as the belly's restricted here, in a forward fold, notice where the breath is moving to. Moving into the back of the body. And gently taking your time to come out of our child's pose. We're going to come to lying on our back and do a gentle supine twist. Now, if the lower back's feeling a little sore or it's worked quite hard today, you can take the feet almost as wide as a yoga mat, so it's quite a wide stance, and gently windscreen wiper the knees. And I've got my hands either side just to help me feel stable. That can be a really lovely gentle easing off the lower back and a gentle twist into the body. Otherwise, maybe you'd like to draw the knees in, my hands coming about shoulder height, palms facing up, and then I'm taking my knees down towards the left hand side. I want to encourage my right shoulder to stay down. And then once you're there, encourage the knees to really be supported by the earth. If they don't come as far as the earth, you can have a couple of blocks or blankets under to support them. Maybe you'd like to take the gaze over the right shoulder as well. So allow everything to soften. It's a full supine twist. So twists are massaging all our vertebrae through the spine, massaging the central nervous system. But also we're working here with our internal organs, particularly the digestive system in twists. Breathing in to bring the knees back up and breathing out to take the knees over to the right hand side. And then gently breathing in to bring the knees back up and drawing them in for a hug, Apanasana. So gently drawing them in and then releasing them. And making any final movements you feel your body needs at this point. You might find it's quite nice to make some circles with the knees, a couple in one direction and a couple in the other. And then finding your preferred position for relaxation. So it's just going to be short relaxation today. So maybe that's feet on the floor with the knees bent. Hands on the belly, all palms facing up towards the sky, or maybe it's full Shavasana, corpse pose. I know sometimes I like to practice crocodile, Makrasana. So making sure you feel comfortable in your relaxation position. Have a sense of evenness in the body, so a sense of balance between both sides. Making any final adjustments you need to. And then becoming aware of your contact with the earth. A sense of letting go, a sense of surrendering, allowing your mat, the earth, to hold and support you. Using the breath as an anchor, so as you breathe in and out, focusing on the breath, following the journey of the breath. So encouraging stillness in the mind. Notice if you're holding any tension in the glutes, are you able to let that go? Are the shoulders able to soften just a little more into the ground? Is the jaw soft? Is the tongue resting in the lower part of the jaw? Focusing on the breath, the flow, the ebb and flow of the breath, the in and out. Gently bringing your awareness back into the room, back into the space you're in. Maybe taking a couple of deeper breaths. And gently moving fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Maybe taking a full body stretch, arms overhead. Eventually drawing the knees in for one last hug. And rolling over on to your right hand side. Taking a moment there. Before using your hands to bring yourself up to a seated position. And that can be kneeling, cross-legged, whatever feels good for you at this point today. Softening the gaze or maybe closing the eyes. And bringing the hands together at heart center, Anjali Mudra, so joining both halves of the body together. Taking a moment to notice how you feel. And thanking yourself for practicing some yoga today. And take my hands up to my forehead to remind us to have kind thoughts. To my lips to remind us to have kind words. And back down to my heart center to remind us to have kind actions. Om Shanti, which means peace. Thank you so much for joining me for this session today. I hope you enjoyed it. If it's the first time you've tried yoga, I hope I haven't put you off. You'll maybe have a little clearer idea of what yoga is, the pranayama, breathing exercises, the asana, the yoga poses or postures, the movement,
and then also the relaxation, and actually bring them all together, making sure the breath works in union with both. As you can imagine, or maybe you already feel, it's a wonderful practice to support our mental health. It encourages introspection. So, introspection, thinking about how we're feeling, looking inwards a little, becoming aware of whether it's tightness arising in the body or tension or feelings and emotions, and able to really connect with those and maybe use the breath or use movement to work through them and support our mental health. And with the breathing particularly, we can support our parasympathetic nervous system. So that's the side of our nervous system, or the bit of our nervous system that helps us calm down, the rest and digest side. So wonderful for just looking after our mental health generally every day. So I hope you enjoyed that session for World Mental Health Day. Thank you for joining me. I'm Caroline, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.